Live from the Asia Tech Podcast Studio. Today is the Esports Asia show. Again with me, Andi, and my co-host Sabir. And today we have in the studio the managing director of Genesis Motion Design, Benjamin Ang.
What's up? What's up?
What's up,
What's
man?
up?
Hey, I know I got your name right because I actually did some homework.
Really?
So I watched your episode with Chris Do.
Yeah.
That's a sick episode,
Right,
man. I
cool.
mean, Chris
Thanks,
Do with the
thanks.
future is like really into the design space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you being featured there says a lot about you, man. So that's great.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, let's just share a little bit about how. I mean, you in the episode you mentioned you interned at this blind.
Yeah, this company called Blind.
Blind,
That's
right.
Yeah.
So, what were you doing there?
Yeah. So basically, Chris Do, he's the founder of Blind,
Yes.
and so that's where I pretty much do. It's an internship, so I went there to really focus on design and really
Right.
focus on this thing called motion graphics, which is what we do, and pretty much. Just kind of going there, which Blind is actually based in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Just going there, just getting immersed in the culture and really getting immersed in what they do, getting immersed in the work, the whole workflow, and just kind of really figuring out the difference between like a Singapore company and the one in Los Angeles where Hollywood's at and
Yeah.
where all these big companies are at.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
So what was the biggest difference you saw during your time there?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question. So, there were a couple of differences for sure. I wouldn't say say that Singapore is a bad place or LA is a bad place or anything like that.
Yeah.
But pretty much, what is the difference is pretty much culture. Like how people really believe in collaboration. Like pretty much believe in like really having fun while doing work.
Right.
And that whole culture is really like a big culture shock to me.
Yeah.
I was like, in Singapore, we are here, really just struggling day in, day out, and then just trying to, get work done, and it's just like, just work. Whereas when you're there, they believe in like, let's let's do work, but like, come on, let's like kind of collaborate. Like, you come up with an idea, let someone else come up with an idea, and then we all figure out what's the best way to go around that.
Right.
And that was a culture shock to me, for sure.
Right.
So that's good. I think that's a good way of going about it, right?
Yeah.
If we don't all grow together, we're not gonna grow.
Exactly.
Simple as
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
that. Let's take a step back then. Let's talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you're in Singapore and not in LA.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, great question. Pretty much, my name is Benjamin Ang. You got that right.
Yeah, I know.
You got that right. So what I am the creative director or managing director for this company called Genesis Motion Design, which I started out back in 2015. So that we are currently about 4 years in running.
Yep.
And what we do is pretty much focus on this thing called motion graphics, which is videos, which is graphic videos. Think of it as graphic videos, but it's being animated with like still graphics in a way. So the companies or people we usually help are brands or people or businesses that wants to really make it clear like what they're doing, like or their product, like to explain their product, and that's where we work with different brands. For example, like for Facebook, we work with different brands from Razer,
Right.
or MSI,
Okay. Wow.
and EA as well. So it's just really kind of creating promos as well. So
Right.
it's just like promoting the brand, promoting the game, and we've recently also worked with Hyperplay, which
nice.
for
That's awesome.
which was for Riot. So
Yeah.
that's-
Right. Yeah.
so for that, there's a whole lot more. It's not just creating the videos, but creating them in a
Yeah.
specific platform, which is pretty much like at different LED screens.
Right.
And, when the players are coming up, or like you gotta play their, they represent their team logo.
Okay.
in
Right.
the
Right.
sense, for
Yeah.
Hyperplay sense, is in the country. And then we have also different things like if they win, like you have victory animations,
Right.
and different things. So that's it's really an eye opener for us because doing it just motion graphics, explaining products, explaining brands may not kind of relate to that, but we kind of as a gamer ourselves, we kind of understand what they need because I've
Yeah.
been watching too much like ESL, too much like
Never too
DreamHack.
much, man.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, obviously we're gonna talk about esports and motion design, but
Sure.
for now, I'm just interested. Who was your first client?
First client.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember?
First client.
Mm.
Oh, that's a hard
I
one.
mean, it
That's a
should
hard
be
one.
special, right? That moment, you lock in something. This is my first
Right.
ever
right.
job.
Mm.
I mean, if you can't remember, maybe the earliest job you've ever had.
Right. So I remember one job that was pretty significant.
Mm.
It wasn't a really a job that was really I would say like a super interesting brand. That the brand we worked with an agency which they were working for a client which is called AIA, which is an insurance company. So
Okay.
like explaining insurance
Yeah.
wasn't the best thing,
Right.
especially for a video, and it's really tricky to make it really interesting.
Right.
So pretty much we had it, we animated it, we worked with the agency, they conceptualized things, and I think that brand, after it's done, it was actually featured in like in cinemas
Wow.
and online, and that
That's
was like the first major, I would say,
Major,
project.
right.
I was like, when I watched it in cinemas, I was like, yes, it's me. But it's insurance though, like,
Yeah.
but it's me.
Hey,
Yeah, I got it.
that's great for
you
if you're on a
yes.
date.
I mean, yeah, you can just
Yeah.
say, "Hey,
That's
that's
my
my
video."
thing."
That's my thing. Yeah, but like like it was just a it was just self achievement, and like
Yeah.
for family and friends,
Yeah.
they all know, so they were like, hey, yo man, it's yours. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not really paying attention to the actual
Right.
message, but we got that across. So.
I mean, that's amazing. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing about motion design, right? I believe that it brings that words, concepts, ideas into even better to the audience, because audience sometimes wouldn't really tune into words and just
Yeah, for sure.
plain stories, right?
Yeah.
But when you pump motion design into it, people will just listen and
Yeah.
they'll be engaged, right?
Yeah.
So is this the idea that you work with in Genesis?
Yeah, for sure. So what we believe in is basically telling stories in the most interesting way possible and in the shortest way possible.
Right.
Especially now, in general, people attention spans are getting way
Yeah.
shorter.
Yes.
Like people attention spans are like 5 seconds. If it's not
Yes.
interesting, I'm just gonna swipe past. I'm just gonna go past.
Yes.
And like so that's the tricky portion, especially with younger people using social media and everything. With this, people attention spans are getting shorter. With televisions back then, people were like, yeah, I have to watch through
Yeah.
advertisement and wait for my show to come up.
Mm.
At least one person would do that, and then they would call their family, hey, it's starting, and then the rest of them would like rush back in.
Right.
I still remember those days.
Yeah, that's nostalgic.
So how do you guys keep in touch and keep up to date with all the new trends, preferences? Because I mean, from speaking with you a week ago, you seem pretty adamant that like traditional media, sure, it had its place and it had its time, but now it's time for new media
Yeah.
and really like grasping that and using that to your advantage. So how do you guys stay on top of things?
Right. So to be honest with you, it kind of hit us pretty much in the face, this social media thing, because prior then, like maybe about 3 years ago, we were actually doing a lot of spots. We call it spots or TV spots for promoting, broadcast stations or broadcast shows. So we've been working with MTV, we've been working with Food Network, Asian Food Channel, and things like that. And then we kind of realized that, hey, the demand was actually kind of going down. We were getting less of these jobs. And then like social media jobs are actually piling up a lot more. So we kind of, there wasn't much difference in terms of how we work, but we noticed that the requirements are getting shorter, but there'll be more deliverables required. There'll be more things, for example, social media promotions is not just a short video, but they have like carousels, like we can just swipe through one to kind of view one product from another. They have like Instagram stories, different different shapes and sizes of different things. And that's like it kind of hit us hard in the face, and we're like, oh, what's happening? Like we're not getting these jobs anymore. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't downplay traditional media.
Yeah.
for sure, it's a platform in itself.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't really like kind of look down on it. But what I would say is that it's good at certain things, it's not good at certain things, and different platforms are great at certain things, and there's pros and cons, and yeah. So really, it's just I think social media is really been running pretty strong, and I think as technology progresses, there are more different platforms for us to
Right.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, platforms. That's the interesting part because with TV, right? When you do a commission for TV, you're just gonna produce one set of I'd say a reel.
Yeah,
Like-
like a video, like it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a
It's just
promotions.
one thing, and you'll just
30
run it
second.
again and again and
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But with social media, it's interesting because there's different context for different platforms, right?
Yeah,
Even
correct.
like when you say LinkedIn versus Instagram, you can't post the same thing on both platforms.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you'll have to work a bit harder because you have to
Exactly.
switch context, right?
Exactly.
Right. So does this like make it even harder for you to?
It does.
You know.
It does.
All right.
So pretty much is I'll say I'll call it strategy because posting it on Facebook, you're targeting a certain audience.
Yes.
Posting it on YouTube, you're targeting a certain audience. Putting on LinkedIn, you're targeting a certain audience. And the thing about getting people to follow you on these different platforms, even Twitter and things like that, is that each of these platforms have to have its own unique content in a way,
Yes.
in order to kind of draw people and to get them to follow you on these platforms. So for example, Twitter is really I would say it's really like how the system functions. You can actually reply and you can actually see the original post.
Yeah.
So it may lead using Twitter may lead to like conversations, with the people that are patronizing your brand or your business or your product, right? But for Facebook, it's just really kind of in a sense it's used as ads and things like that. So it's really like mass marketed and really kind of different angles, different things.
Yeah.
But it's dependent on each company and
Each
their
company.
strategy.
Right.
So you're right there. You're right there.
All
You have a
right.
point.
Yeah. I know.
for sure. Cool,
All right,
cool,
so
cool.
let's jump into this exciting space that the reason why we created the show. Talk about esports. Bharat, can we pull the link up? All right. So I actually did some homework last night.
Damn.
So I went into your website, genesis.tv, and I saw a few of your videos that are very eye-catching. And the first one I saw was Razer, but let's just run through each and every one of them.
Cool,
Okay, this
cool.
one. Razer. This is an ad for Razer Mamba, right?
Yeah, the Razer
Yeah, so-
Mamba Hyperflux.
What I'm interested is just maybe you can just talk about the process of this. Like, how did you get in touch with Razer? How did you came into doing this? The conceptualization. So just share with us what was in your mind when you were doing this.
Cool. Yeah, so basically, we kind of reached out to Razer,
Right.
and
Oh, so you reached out.
yeah, we reached out
Right.
to Razer.
Okay.
I mean, prior to this, to be honest, we don't have much esports or
Right.
gaming related portfolio. In our
Right.
work. Everything was like
So
all.
was this the first esports project?
I would say yeah.
Right.
I would say where it kind of got pre-serious, and this was
Wow.
the first one.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when was this?
This was done last year. I think pretty much early last year actually,
Okay.
if I'm not wrong.
And was that always a goal of yours? Like when you joined or when you started this company, did you think, hey, at some point, you know what, I want to bring my passion industry into this as well, and I want to be able to like work with Razer or Blizzard or Riot? Was that something that you were looking to, or?
A great question actually.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like when I was starting this company, 2015, when it was my first year working on this company, I was doing work really really late nights, doing until 4 in the morning.
Wow.
And then going back to work at 10 the next day.
Oh my God.
So it's
You sure you weren't in banking with me?
it's a vicious cycle, man. So whenever you're starting a company, so pretty much, doing work all the time would just shut me down. Like my brain couldn't work. So what do I have to do is I play games. I play CS actually.
Yes.
I played a lot of Counter Strike back then. And then like if you know tournaments, they're all
Yes.
held in like 12, 1.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, it's the perfect time. It's the perfect time. Like I was playing some games, I was doing some work, putting like streaming it on the side, and I was just like, but it actually didn't really click back then. I was just like, I was just enjoying myself. I was just playing some games,
Yeah.
and then back then it was like it was a dream. It wasn't really reality just yet. Only just when we, after building some portfolio, and then I was just like, yeah, maybe we'll give it a shot. Maybe we'll give it a shot. And thanks to the guys at Razer who looked at our portfolio, and they like, to be honest, it was a big a leap of faith from them.
Right.
But looking at our work before, we don't have really a lot of brands on ours in terms of gaming. So they were the first ones to take the big step. So yeah, I think from there we kind of started to actually work on that, and then it kind of just rolled on from there.
That's awesome. Right now you're working with Riot as well for League of Legends and Hyperplay, right? One of the tournaments. And you also have MSI on your portfolio, right?
Correct.
Can we take a look at the League of Legends patch? I think it's pre-season. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So this one, I was pretty interested, even though I don't play League.
Right.
This was like a patch for you guys, and the way you presented it is through motion graphics, right?
Correct.
So that's interesting because people would be more engaged and they would click faster. Because sometimes for players, we don't quite understand the patch at one go, right? But with this, I was actually like nodding along when I watched it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like very informational but very engaging.
Oh,
So
absolutely, yeah.
maybe you saw this, Sabir?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
as a League player, you have to go through the patch notes.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter if your champion gets buffed or nerfed. You need to know if,
You need to know it, yeah.
Bloody LeBlanc is
sure.
going to roll down and one-shot your ass, or, sorry, am I allowed to swear? So having something like this was actually really cool. You just kind of watch it,
Yes.
they're explaining it, and the graphics are really engaging.
Really
Like,
engaging.
that's what I
yes.
really like about, your portfolio, is that the graphics and just, the animations and everything, it just captivates you. You
Yes.
want to keep your eyes on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much the story behind this, Riot, I think we kind of just met them.
Right.
They actually have a office recently opened in Singapore.
Oh,
So if I'm not wrong,
right.
it's last year.
Okay.
So that was like, yeah, man, that's our chance, in Singapore. We can meet them face to face.
That's cool,
Why
yeah.
not? So like, and then we took the chance, and then they were like, we have this preseason coming up. We need to brief them on the patches and the changes.
Yep.
Are you keen to work on this? And then there's a presented to us, like our job is to really translate the message well, right?
Yes.
And then, but what we got from the Riot themselves is just like a list. Like, that's really hard to exhaust. Like, how do we do that? And so like we kind of got into that, and we kind of broke that down, talked with them. We actually played a game or two with Riot themselves.
That's freaking awesome.
That's awesome,
And
man.
then we get like get to explore the new interfaces. We get accounts, and then with unlimited cash, just like
man.
yeah.
All right.
And then just kind of like really buying, and then like observing how the animations are being played, and then like if we can actually get this account in real, but I guess they deleted it after. Yeah, man.
All right. Yeah.
But so just kind of studying that, and then it got to that. So we managed to craft the video, planning, showing your storyboards, and really planning everything out. Everything went really smoothly, and once the video was launched, it was actually launched in the YouTube Singapore Riot account.
Right.
So it just blew up for some reason. I think that was, and then they were like, I was kind of reading comments as well, and they were saying like, why is the voice like so local, like so
Yeah.
Singaporean?
I saw the
Yeah.
comments.
And
They
then-
were a bit of a.
Yeah.
They were flaming the girl.
Yeah, they're flaming the girl, but the reason for that is because like it's supposed to be launched locally for
In
the local
Singapore,
audience.
okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
And then they were mistaking it for the global launch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it kind of just stacked like millions of views.
Yes.
And I was like, why is this like they were picking up things, but like they did not know that it's supposed to be for the local.
Right.
So like we were like,
Yes.
it's blowing up quite a bit. And then the global team came in, and then like, can we use this video as well?
That's
For the
amazing.
local thing. Then we were like, just have fun with
Go
it.
for it.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
wild.
3 more millions, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So that's interesting because one point I picked up there is that you didn't expect it to blow up
Yeah.
in that scale. So when you were doing it, did you expect your work to blow up in that scale?
Yeah, so pretty much the answer to that is no.
No.
The answer to
Okay.
that is no. And the reason is we just, do our best. Like for every project we take on,
Yeah.
we just try to figure out the best ways to tell that story,
Mm.
figure out the best ways to kind of go about that, and then from there just launch it. I think it was it's just really good timing, I would say. And it's just, yeah, I would say timing is one of it. And I think, if I'm not wrong, even Global really didn't get to launch it yet.
Mm.
I think, if I'm not wrong,
Right.
Global didn't really
Right.
launch that actual that patch notes or that patch in video yet.
In
Yeah,
video,
yeah.
yeah.
In video yet. So that was the first one. So I'm not sure how they found it, but
I mean,
from there,
you're
yeah,
downplaying yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great stuff, man. The graphics are
Appreciate
on
it.
point. So
appreciate it.
You know-
it's no wonder it blew up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like one of the big points about this show is kind of informing the audience and informing people
Yes.
that don't really know about esports that, hey, there's a plethora of jobs and opportunities in this industry.
Yes.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not just gamer or not gamer,
Yeah.
or shotcaster or not shotcaster. It's not.
Pretty
And-
much.
And I'm surprised because I'm learning more about,
Yeah.
your work and
Right,
what
cool.
what goes on behind that. Because
Yeah.
you mentioned Hyperplay, and believe it or not, Hyperplay was probably the first proper esports event I've been to.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I just haven't, I've been in Dubai, I've been in London.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to go to any esports events.
I see.
So going to Hyperplay and seeing, all the other things that goes on behind the event and behind actually like driving up the hype or
Yeah.
player introductions
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
animations. And I was like, damn, like
Damn.
this is high production quality. Like,
Yes.
this is really
For
cool.
sure. For sure.
So I just wanted to know, like, first of all, how stressful is it
Oh,
to
yeah.
work an event
Oh,
like
yeah.
that? And second of all, like what would you like to highlight that, goes on behind the scenes that people don't actually know about, that, is actually pretty important to
Mm.
the event and to getting people to, enjoy it?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So I think Hyperplay was pretty much like what I mentioned.
Mhm.
We've worked with like MTV and like for different platforms. Like for LED platforms behind their singers when they sing. So that was pretty much something that we displayed that we could do, and they kind of told that, and like, yo, you like, after working with them on the preseason, I think after seeing our work on for Razor and things like that, they just kind of like kind of pieced that together,
Mhm.
and they were like, yo, maybe we can try you guys out.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was the start, and then what they came to us for was for the broadcast animations, the broadcast assets. So the stuff that you see on if I'm not wrong on Twitch,
Mm.
it was pretty much all the different animations in between. That's what we handled. We also handled the stage graphics.
Right.
So meaning like the whole experience of the whole thing. So prior to that, this whole event was actually handled with Riot and with MTV. So they have like content strategists coming in, planning the different things, like what Sabir has mentioned. So it's really on like building the hype. They actually did a really good job in building the hype.
Right.
So my role wasn't really on that portion, but I would say it's a really great job.
Hmm.
But my role was like pretty much creating the immersive experience for players to kind of watch the games, whether being at home or on in the location itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we were planning. We pretty much all they gave us was pretty much, oh, here's our logo, and if you've seen the logo is pretty darn complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if you've seen it. Yeah. So it has a bunch of like different characters, different assets,
Yeah.
and they're like, yo, here's the logo, just have fun with that. And then we were like, yeah, let's just try to build it. So we kind of dissected each part of the logo, and then we try to figure out what's the best way to kind of go about that, and presenting it in a more simple and clean manner, so that it doesn't it doesn't give you too much stress on the eye
Yeah.
in that
Right.
sense. So yeah, pretty much that's what we did. That's what we jumped on. Working with them was really a great experience. They taught us a lot in terms of the event team who's actually doing the LEDs. They taught us pretty much like how their workflow goes.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, something that I learned from Riot was that they actually have an international team that flies around different countries to run league
Oh,
games.
wow.
So
Okay.
whatever that's handling on broadcast,
Right.
they have their own broadcast room with like tons of people, like more than 10
Right.
people,
Damn.
like switching, doing the live edits,
Interesting.
and things like that. And they are so familiar with the whole flow that they just go there and then just quick to work, just jump right on it.
That must have been good to like look and learn as well,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I thought it would just be like a panel, like maybe 2 or 3 guys. I opened the door, I was like, whoa, 10. And then everybody's like jumping around, writing notes, like if it seems like a scene from a movie.
Yeah,
When they're all like headphones and
Yeah,
talking,
yeah.
and then like, you're there in the back, like, oh, am I in the wrong room? But like, yeah. So it's pretty much a good experience. So I mean, I was working one of the guy. If I don't know his name, Sam. Pretty much we were discussing all the different events.
Right.
When how does when the victory animations, victory defeat, how does it come up? Or if it's stagnant, we call it a living hole, which is
Living hole.
pretty much a moving graphic when everything is on pause,
Okay.
or like when the events in between things, it's just moving.
Right.
Like we're
Right.
just figuring out what's the best way to kind of show that, and the most interesting ways to show that, transitions and everything like that as well. They were kind of discussing, because we have like so many screens, I would say probably about 7-8 screens, different screen, different placements. How do we place them in an interesting manner for the audience, so that they can really feel like immersive, like a red side and a blue side. It's really clear on
Right.
one side, like when if they win, if they lose, and you can't really you can't really put it the loser as in like you're really I really downplay the loser in that sense, because it's not nice.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't like losers, and then the other side you can't winners. You can't do that. You can't do
So
that.
it has to be subtle, right? You
Yeah.
can't be like in your face loser.
Yeah, for sure. We put it as a victory and defeat. Like,
Yeah,
it's just a bit more neutral. You know what I
Yes.
mean? The colors, we try to use the colors to kind of really carry the message
Right.
across, but we can't put it in a very
Yeah.
in your face way, because that's losing. There's just one game. There's a couple more games
Yes.
to go.
Sure.
And you can't do that. So. Yeah, I mean it was a really good learning experience, like learning like from their end, like the PR side, like how to do things. And then on our end, like sharing like different interesting animations,
Yes.
piecing different things together, from a perspective of like esports enthusiasts. Like, what do I want to see? So yeah, I think just having that background and working with them in that way, pretty much helps the whole experience to really
Right.
be really smooth. So that's what we really enjoyed.
That is really interesting because moving on a bit, my view is that esports in the long term, the value comes from entertainment.
Yeah.
And entertainment is in the form of viewership,
Yeah.
maybe a spectating a grand tournament. And you mentioned a great point about experience. So motion design is, if you just look at it, what it is just graphics, right? But what people don't realize is it's actually leading you in a way that it is the guide for you to enjoy an experience from end to end, right? So motion design and any other creative side of the esports industry is really getting that sense of professionalization, right?
Yeah.
Like when you experience that walking into a room into 10 guys, you're witnessing at that second that, hey, this industry is happening.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you are in it, right?
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
albeit in the non-traditional way, in
Yeah.
a creative way.
Yeah.
So my interest right now is, what is your view about esports incorporating motion design as a centerpiece, like an important piece of the whole industry?
Yeah. So I think I'm to be honest with you, I'm really, really excited.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
we are.
Because I mean, it combines two of my most favorite things together.
Yeah.
Like thinking of strategies and doing that through videos, through graphic video content,
Yeah.
and then also with esports in itself.
Yes.
So I'm really excited. Like what you say, like I agree with you with what you said. It being moving on to the entertainment sort of industry.
Yes.
It's a combination. The great thing about esports is a combination of everything. And doing this content, it's really, really, really fascinating. It's like because what we do in motion design is pretty much, try different content. We do film, we can integrate motion graphics with film. We can integrate motion graphics with your VR, your AR, and that's just the beginning. That's just the tip of the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg. So essentially, we've been seeing a little bit of this. We've been seeing a lot of content being rolled out recently, especially with like what we've been mentioning, like with League of Legends, with Riot Games. They've been running out so many content, and actually, I was just posting some content on my Facebook page a few days ago, and then just in the next day, I just posted out another content, which was like something like an anime intro, like a manga anime intro.
Right.
That was like pretty much content after content.
Yeah.
They've really been crazy about it. So it's just not content at home, but also during the esports event itself. Like, introducing the different stats, the different teams, making things really interesting, how their play is like, what's their victory, defeat, what's their track record, with a certain other team, and things like that. That's one great way to show content.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing this content not only just flat, but like through AR as well. So which is something I love to talk about. So AR technology is pretty much your augmented reality.
Yeah.
And actually it's being implemented a lot in actually Dota.
Right.
Dota 2. Valve did a great job on actually implementing this AR system, which actually talks about, when the shoutcasters are the back and the front, you actually, whatever they're talking about, the graphics appear, the characters appear,
Right.
and then like they talk about the different stats, and then you see it kind of rising, going down in a very interactive manner.
That's cool.
So it's not actually there in real life,
Yeah.
but actually when through a lens, and then they are actually matching everything together, you see
You
it
can
coming
see it,
together. And
yes.
from an audience perspective.
There was this big launch by Dota 2 at the international. Was it the Pit Lord? That was the launch of AR technology with Dota, right?
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like, one of the things in League was the dragon.
Yeah.
You saw. You
Yeah.
showed us in
I
the first
remember
episode.
Last year at Worlds, me and my friend Michael, we were just going crazy, like texting each other like, "Is that the Elder Drake?"
So yeah, I think it's really great seeing these companies implement new technology into adding value into esports.
Yeah, for sure.
But the thing is it really adding value into esports? Like, what is your view on this? Is it just some people would argue that it's just a gimmick,
Right. Yeah,
but
for sure.
for me, I mean, personally, I enjoy it, and it adds to the experience of viewing a big tournament, and it just takes you to another level of experience, right?
Yeah.
But how do you convince those critics, like those cynics, it's just a gimmick, man. It's just dragons flying or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything in visuals, I would say, is mainly just for show, just for entertainment value. And pretty much those people, maybe, I mean, it's up to personal preference at the end of the day, yeah. But in general, entertainment industry, the movie industry is all moving forwards, right? So nowadays, you even get movies in VR,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You even get movies in VR, if I'm not wrong, or even short films in VR. So it's getting more and more immersive, and it's just they're just pretty much riding that wave of like being keeping up in being on track with like technology and its wave. So I would say pretty much, it's inevitable. Like, it will definitely move on. AR may just be the tip. It may move on to something else.
Yes.
But who knows? Maybe one day we won't be playing, computer game per
Right.
se, but more of like wearing goggles and technology.
Ready Player One.
Ready
man.
Player One.
Player One,
Yeah.
amazing
No, I think
movie.
you really hit it on the point, right? It's a natural progression, and honestly, if anything can enhance the experience, and that's the main thing, right?
Yes.
Then great, by all means, do it. I can see where it may get a little difficult considering like budgets or capabilities,
sure.
but again, like you got to learn and you got to adapt to it.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You can't just
For
say
sure.
no.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, at the end of the day, like, even running a business or running even anything itself, if you don't progress, if you don't follow, if you don't keep yourself up to date, you just fall behind and you just die earlier. You just die short.
Yes.
One good example is probably like smartphones, right? Not to point it out, but like for example, for example,
I
like
know
a
what's
certain
coming.
brand,
I know what's coming.
a certain brand, like did not move on to the smartphone industry,
Yes.
and then the brand just died out. So
Yeah.
it's just pretty much being like always adapting, always keeping up yourself in the loop, because that was a major brand at one point, right? It was
Everybody has it on their hands.
yeah, everyone has it. So
Yeah.
and then it just died us out. I mean, that's just really got to do with forward, like how forward thinking a certain person is, or like in the management is in that sense.
Yes.
So we've learned like time after time. Like, there's so many different examples of this forward thinkingness. If you're not forward thinking, your brand would just die out.
Yeah.
And that's something good to think about because it's being proved time after time.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, so I think pretty much that's it.
Yeah, that's an absolutely great point. And now I'm really excited because now you have started something that is to be followed, and it's a huge start. So our interest right now is moving forward, right? Do you have in Genesis right now a few esports projects, maybe? I mean, if you're not allowed to spill some
Nah,
beans,
nah,
then
nah.
that's fine. I mean,
Sure. I mean, we can share with you what's going on.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So currently in the office right now, we're actually working on some on project for MSI.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a second project coming. They're working with their headquarters, which is they're based in Taiwan.
Taiwan, yes.
So they're Taiwanese brand, and then my Chinese is really really bad. I'm not sure if I can call myself a Chinese.
Right.
But pretty much my project managers are like talking to them. We're trying to figure it out, translating it to me, and then I will kind of share creative directions. And the fun thing about doing this is that we get to do like strategy conceptualization. We'll ask them really interesting questions, like where's your main target audience? Who do you want to target? What especially with a computer gaming brand, what are the top? We are looking to feature some really interesting genres of games in the video.
Right.
So we'll do like questions like in your target audience, do you want to target the people that follows you or that don't follow you? Do you want to get more, or do you want to kind of reinforce the brand in that sense? And then we'll just check with questions as well, like we need some research documents from you.
Yes.
We actually do research as well, not just creating a video. So we will have to understand what are the most like games that people can relate to.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, for videos and content, we want people to really relate to you, relate to the video, and then that's where it blows up.
Yep.
Right. So that's our whole initiative where we have to do research. What the popular games people play for your target audience and things like that. And yeah, that's a whole bunch of it. So that's part of the workflow as well.
Right.
And that's coming up. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
For sure.
That point there is that we are supposed to tell more stories, right?
Yeah.
And you're just taking this to another level, but at the core of it is just telling more stories, better stories to more people out there so they can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sure, you've been doing this with the huge brands like Razer, Riot, MSI. What's your view about startups maybe or smaller companies who are interested to go into this space, leveraging technology and especially in motion design to actually get their brand to be more relatable? What can they do to just start something? I mean, maybe should they hire a motion designer right away, or do you see a better path leading towards that point?
Right. I think you have a good question. Pretty much everyone can leverage motion design, leverage doing content.
Yes.
Motion design may not be, it's just a platform, to get your point across, to get your brand across. There are platforms for more simple platforms like doing film. Anyone can pick up a camera, and then like with simple knowledge, you can actually do simple content. But the doing the actual execution of it is pretty simple. But like coming up with ideas that really gets people like, I mean that's interesting. I want more of this content. Right, that's the hard part. Like how do you angle your brand in a way that speaks to the audience or speaks to that gets people excited about, and how do you leverage that? So I think in general, creating content is really something that should be considered for all brands, whether you're B2B or B2C. It's a marketing term, whether you're business to business, you're doing business to business, or you're doing your business to consumer. pretty much, I think even for every aspect, this marketing, I think it's very very important for any brands to even
Absolutely. I mean, right now we can see that people tend to ignore more and more those generic advertisements, right? Like banners in your email page.
Yeah,
Like
for
who
sure,
would
man.
see that anymore?
Exactly.
Nobody sees that anymore.
Exactly.
Even in Instagram and LinkedIn, those are those sponsored posts, right? We tend to just scroll to it, even if it's something remotely interesting to you.
Yeah.
You still scroll over that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really great point that we have to start telling more compelling stories through more compelling means, so that we can capture those attention. And this is especially important for brands, smaller brands, big brands, doesn't matter. You have to capture attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you've seen this, but like there's a lot of like different Thai commercials.
Mm.
Thai commercials are pretty
Oh
great.
man, I
doing
love
stuff.
Thai commercials.
Exactly.
I cry every time.
Yeah.
I
So
know,
true.
I know.
Yes.
And if you notice this pattern, because Thai commercials can get pretty long,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Especially when they're telling a story and an emotional driven story. The video has to be long. It has to kind of connect with the audiences for a longer time. But if you notice at every start of like a Thai video, there seems to be like a capture. We call it like a capture point,
Mm.
where actually you actually show the highlights or a little bit about that, and then you bring them back in time to kind of show it. So that 5 second capture point is that where, like, you know, for example, you're browsing on social or anything like that, the moment you click on that 5 second, it brings you in. It brings you in.
Right.
And without that, it actually, you know, it's hard for someone to kind of being like absorbed into that.
Yes.
Damn.
So it's all really strategy and like how do you want to do that.
Interesting.
Well, that's
Very-
that's really interesting. I mean, that tells us a lot. I mean, that
Yeah.
means now we can learn more about doing content, right?
Exactly.
Just that statement, it allows people who listens to this podcast to know that if you're creating content, long form content, maybe half an hour, have that 5 second capture
Yeah,
moment at the very beginning, right?
Exactly. Even
Oh,
like a
that's
minute
awesome.
content.
Yeah.
Now even people would say a minute it's
Too long.
Too long, yeah.
Yeah, a minute is too long. People come to us for content that's like 6 seconds.
6 seconds.
15
Mm.
seconds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean,
It's getting
YouTube
shorter and shorter.
ads, YouTube
Exactly.
ads that last 1 minute, you can just skip in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So you have to capture that 5 seconds
5
before you can
seconds.
skip that,
exactly.
right? Yes.
So
Yes.
we're always trying to adapt. All the marketing
Mm.
brands are always trying to adapt to the platforms that's available, right? So the moment YouTube sets it at 5 seconds, you have to do
You
it.
have to do it in 5 seconds,
Exactly. They
yes.
are the one that's like setting the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for us, we are doing the adaptation.
And they have to work in the confines. Fair.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that's
Yeah,
that's the struggle that most
Mm.
brands face.
Yes.
Because like, I've been a victim of like clicking watching a YouTube video and seeing the first 5 seconds. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch the whole thing. That's like
Yes.
really good work.
Yes.
It's really good commercial.
That's
And
good.
then there's some that I'm just like, I can't wait.
Yes.
yeah.
Even some advertisements, like this is a series of advertisements, and I can't actually wait to like see the next chapter of this ad. I
Yeah.
mean, it's an ad for God's sake, but it can capture me in such a way that I want to know more.
Exactly.
Like,
Mm.
so I
Exactly.
think that's where we should strive towards
Mhm.
as esports enthusiasts, as creators, and of course the brands, big, small. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter. Everyone
So, I mean, it doesn't matter, which industry you're in. I mean, especially for the esports industry as well, you could just implement the same strategies because
Yes.
it's throughout all markets,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So the esports strategy is really a big market, and yeah, this is just one of the things that we can really just bring over, and it will definitely work.
Right.
For
True.
example,
Mhm.
yeah. For example, all the different promo content for all the different games and
Yeah.
things like that. You could just use that as well. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean,
Okay. Yeah,
Nice.
that's awesome.
So,
So,
sorry. You go for it.
yeah, sure. Okay, so I was interested, right? You're doing projects on esports.
Yeah.
You must find an inspiration from somewhere. So what is that thing that inspires your project in motion design for esports? Is there like a specific brand or content that got you thinking, hey, I gotta do something like this?
yeah.
Maybe some production that is very high
High end
value,
production.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, which kinds of productions that inspires you to do this?
Right. So because I play a lot of Counter-Strike back
Yes.
in the days. Yeah, so I watch a lot of like ESL.
ESL.
ESL. I watch a lot of DreamHack,
Mm.
I think it's also for Dota, sorry. But pretty much like a mixture of both. Like
Yes.
I'm into all games. You know, I'm a gamer.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
FPS, MOBA.
Yeah,
everything.
that's the
Yeah.
thing about gamers though. Some actually like identify themselves with just one game.
Yeah.
But in
yeah.
truth, we're gamers. We enjoy all games, right?
Exactly.
So I think this is a time where we should just move forward. Hey, there's no time for this division.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like we just have to be
I think
a
Exactly.
community.
I think it's just because we
Yes.
have too much pride to get our asses
Yes.
kicked in another game.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
it's tough, man. I mean, in one game, let's say I play CS, I'm pretty okay in it, right?
Yeah.
So when people ask me to play, hey, let's go, I can kick your ass. But when they
Right.
ask me to play League, maybe next time,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
yeah, to your point, back.
So I mean, I think like through that ESL, DreamHack, they have really common things. You know, it doesn't matter which game it is,
Mm.
but they do have the same structure, right? Like how
Yes.
they planned it. For example, they have like your pre-event videos, which are your hype videos. You know, all the different content. You know, teams going up, or teams making the qualifiers and things like that. And then like during content itself, you have your promo videos. Whenever they're coming back from a break, they're always playing this interesting videos to kind of capture you
Yeah.
and establish the brand. And then they also have in-game content, you know, showing stats, you know,
Yes.
with everything else. So it's pretty much all this. It's all a pretty much similar system.
Mhm.
Everything is working the same. So it doesn't a game doesn't really it shouldn't bring any difference in a sense if you're looking at it from an esports from an industry perspective.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bring any difference.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I would say like there's a lot of different things we can learn, even from mobile, like mobile like
Yes.
tournaments and things
True.
like that.
True.
You have like your AOV, you have your
Mobile Legends.
Mobile Legends and
Yes.
things like that.
Vainglory.
Glory, yeah, I
Yeah.
play that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's really the same systems.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of different platforms.
Yes.
Where instead of seeing people, you know, with cameras in their face while they're playing a computer, it's more like they're playing on a screen
Yes.
on
Yeah.
a mobile or anything like
True,
that.
true.
So it's just different platforms and just adapting. You see the esports. It's really interesting to see the esports industry adapting to these different platforms,
Mm-hmm.
different games or different things.
Yeah.
Who knows next time when we have VR, how it's gonna be?
Yes.
But the same structure is gonna be there. There's still gonna be
It's
stats.
still there.
There's still gonna be
True.
promos.
Yes.
There's still gonna be things.
Yes.
The only thing, maybe the difference is you can see, you know, in the in-game view a bit more,
Yeah.
a bit more
Yeah.
immersive.
Yeah.
where you
Immersive,
can
yes.
Just the
actually-
foundations won't change. It's just the experience might change.
The
right?
experience,
Exactly,
yes.
exactly.
True.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're nearing the end of the show.
Cool,
We've done a
cool.
lot of storytelling on your professional side, and people
Yeah.
know about that now. Now I want to touch on you as the gamer.
Yeah.
Just
Sure,
like
sure.
understand a little bit more. So first question:
Mm-hmm.
what was the game that had the most impact, or your favorite game growing up?
Oh, growing up. Wow.
Yeah, this takes back to your like 5-year-old days.
5 years old. Yeah. I think that's exactly like when I started playing games was about 6, 7. Wow, the very first one, man. This is gonna be embarrassing, but like.
I mean,
No,
games, man. Games are games.
yeah. I started off with like new pets, you know. I'm not sure.
Right.
Like dude, from the very OG, like
Yeah.
I gotta feed my pet every day, you know. And then like you like introduce things like stock markets and things like that. I was like,
Oh,
like,
wait,
it's
what?
way above my head.
Wait, okay,
yeah, it's way
yeah,
above
yeah,
my head.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
I
was just
get
there to play the snake games, like the
Yes.
Merca Chase and things like
Yeah.
that. I was just there to play that. They good those games, you know.
Right,
Neopets,
right,
That is
right.
a throwback.
That's
That
right.
is
Yeah, I know, right?
Definitely a throwback.
Is there
Yeah, for
footage of
sure.
it, Bert? What is this?
Yeah, so like after Neopets, pretty much I managed to get another game which was called Ultima, the Ultima series. I'm
Ultima,
not sure if you
yes.
Ultima, yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's pretty much RPG. It's an
Yes.
RPG game, and it's something that really is close to my heart.
Mm.
Like it's the very first RPG game I played,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like even to this day I still buy the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
On Origin, they
Oh.
have it on Origin. Still.
Damn. Okay.
It's called
Right.
Ultima 8. So
Interesting.
damn, like yeah, they still have it there. So they use, I think if I'm not wrong, they use a simulator or something.
Simulator, yes.
Yeah, actually, my bad. That might be actually the first game I played. To be honest.
Ultima?
Really?
Yeah, because the game the computer I was using is like Windows 3.1 or something.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
it was like it was pretty much DOS system. Yeah, pretty much something like that.
Ultima 7. That's
Wow.
7.
Yeah, I mean there's a couple of them,
Yeah.
but like it runs on DOS. So
Oh,
you put
wow.
oh, that game. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
yeah. So I mean the one I played was a little bit later than this. I'm not that. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not that old.
Don't worry, I don't think anyone thinks you're that old.
Yeah, cool. But like, yes, essentially, it runs on DOS. So
Right.
as a 6-year-old, I had to figure out C is slash, program files slash Audiomark 8, and then it loads up, and I'm like, boop, and then it kind of just like kind of loading. It's just like, yo. Now come think back about it, and then I jump to Neopets. That's a bit weird, but like, yeah, I mean, just kind of being from a very young age, I'm just exploring many different games.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're a PC gamer. From an
PC
early
game, yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I play a lot of PC games, but I own PlayStation as well. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so what do you play now? Like, what are the games that you enjoy most to play now?
Nowadays I play a lot of League. That's one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I play a lot of League. I play a lot of. I'm still playing Counter Strike as once in a
That's
while.
good.
Going back.
You're
Counter-Strike.
pleasing everyone in the room. That's good. Benjamin.
No, but that's not serious though. Like
Yes.
that's just me as a gamer. That's what I like to do.
Mobile games, maybe?
Mobile games. I'm playing this game. Hold on, let me just check.
Yeah, sure.
Let me just check.
Is it online or single player?
It's online. It's
online.
called Brawl Stars. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's the up and coming
Yeah.
sports esports title, I think.
Yeah.
Because it has a potential to be played by everyone because it's
Yeah.
just 5
Exactly.
minutes.
It's
Exactly.
The graphics is cute.
It's amazing how, like, I swear, since I came back to Singapore,
Mm.
and honestly, when I came back a year ago was when, like, my eyes were open to just how popular mobile games are,
games.
Yeah.
especially here in Southeast Asia. Right?
Exactly.
And every month or two since I've come here, it's like, oh, there's a new game now that's
Yeah.
like the up and coming, or like there's a
Exactly.
new one, or there's a new
Exactly.
one, and I'm like, wait, what? Okay, Vainglory is the same as this, which is the same as that. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
holy crap!
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
know.
interesting, but at the same time, it's pretty challenging moving forward because in esports, it's a bit tough if you compete all together. Like there's
Yeah.
10 different MOBA titles,
Yeah.
right? Competing for that spot maybe later in the SEA Games, Asian Games. So yeah, I'm just hoping that people would just, I don't know, I'm hoping people would stick to few titles
Yeah.
in a way because
Yeah.
then the communities will build. And then we get to the esports as we know it today
I
with
can see
those
where you're
game
coming
titles.
from. I
Yeah.
can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
just think there's nothing wrong with variety.
yeah.
As long as you're
For
not
sure,
like
for sure.
blatantly copying
Yes,
someone else.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
Yes.
again, that happens.
Yes, that happens.
I think so. Like for me, I was never a PC gamer.
Oh.
I grew up with a
Mm.
PlayStation.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
I was like my mother had me when she was really young, in Iran,
Right.
and I grew up around adults, and the adults at the time, this is like 94, 95. That's when I was born. They bought the first PlayStation, right?
Right,
That's
right.
when
Right.
PlayStation comes out.
Yes.
So when I was like 5, 6, they're all playing Tekken, and that was actually one of the first games that
Oh,
I
yeah.
played.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're all like, these adults like sitting in a room going ham, and then I'm a kid, and I come and I start kicking their
Kicking
asses.
their asses. Yes.
So that's
yeah.
so I was always a console gamer, COD, FIFA,
Oh, yeah.
and then I got into PC gaming, and every time I'd pick up a PC game, I felt like I had some sort of loyalty to that game because I'm really
Mm.
competitive, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I always wanted to be like the best at that game. So if I was playing WoW, I wanted to be the best in my realm, right? On my
Yes.
server.
Yeah.
If I was playing League, I wanted to be the best ADC.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then PUBG came out,
Mm.
and
Oh,
that
yeah.
that was my first. I never played H1Z1, and I didn't play any of the other games.
First battle royale.
It was my
Okay.
first battle royale game, and
Okay.
I really thought like, damn, like
Yes.
this is it. Like this is the game for me that I can play for the rest of my life. Like the level of excitement and adrenaline
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they get out of you
Yeah.
in these battle royale games, you cannot like it's second to none, right?
Yes.
So I was like PUBG, and Fortnite
came along.
and I was like, I don't need Fortnite. Like I'm just gonna play PUBG.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
PUBG is
yeah.
already
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Then I picked up Fortnite,
And then
and I was like, holy crap, this is great as well.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yes.
when people say, I just wish like we could stick to one or two games, or I can totally see that argument,
yes.
and that's how I used to think.
Mm.
But if we didn't have varieties of games,
Yes.
you wouldn't know which one you'd like more or which one
Mm.
you'd like less. So I think, hell, like give us a variety
yeah,
of games.
give us new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
but
I
I
like it.
think the interesting thing is because you don't necessarily have to abandon esports if you switch games all
Yeah.
the time, right?
Yeah.
You can switch games and still enjoy esports loyalty to a certain
Absolutely.
title. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that's the important thing that people have to think
Yeah.
about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's actually this would be a controversial statement, but I feel like
Do
it's
it.
harder to get like a rugby fan to watch the NFL and be just as interested. But I'm not a Dota player. I feel like as a League player, I could watch a Dota game and I could be like, okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yes.
find this interesting. I
Yes.
can get what's going on.
You can
and
read
I
it,
can
right?
still feel it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be a controversial statement. But
But I actually totally agree because it's really interesting that we are not tied to a certain title, right?
Yeah.
And we can just jump ship anytime,
Exactly.
right? So that's the greatest thing about esports, I think, is that there's no
flexibility.
division.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's no fragmentation. You're an esports enthusiast. You're an esports enthusiast.
Yeah, that's right.
What game you play doesn't matter, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what we
exactly.
should keep in mind moving
True.
forward.
What game doesn't matter, but if you're playing Master Yi against me, I swear to God, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well,
let's make it. Let's do it sometime.
Let's take it into the PC.
play it sometime.
As long as it's not on any Riot account with like unlocked skins, I'm
Yeah,
good.
Everything is all
Yeah, that would have been dope.
999.
Nah.
All the
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Thank
Look-
you for joining us
Yes.
today.
Pleasure,
I think
pleasure.
Before we wrap it up, if I
Mhm.
let Andy wrap it up,
Sure.
just one last message to anyone trying to make it into the industry,
Mhm.
or anyone that doesn't even know that, hey, one day my job might be useful in this industry, or
Yeah.
I just really want to get into this industry. What would you tell them?
Yeah. So essentially, at the end of the day, it's pretty much doing the things you love, right? Like
Yes.
that's the thing. That's the real thing that counts. And if esports is and the whole industry and many different facets of the industry is something that you can be part of, I mean, I would say go for it. Like you have to kind of figure out your background and how it fit within the whole entertainment industry, or it could be in the streaming, together with streaming. It's a whole different different platform there, but it's all still related to gaming. So I mean, in that sense, like I would say, don't let it stop you. You figure out what you like. It's something related and it's something you want to do. Just go for it, and I think it will definitely fit in one of the different facets that this industry is going, because this industry is pretty much a mix of everything, right? Everything. And so I guess that's the best part about the esports industry, that even if you're doing events or you're just doing like accounting, like
There's a place.
Yeah, there's a place
Yeah.
for that. In the same industry, it still works. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of like taking that to another to where you want to be, and then working in that culture. If that's what you're aiming for, then I say go for it.
Well
Yeah.
said.
All right, that is well said. Awesome, Benjamin Ang. I think this will inspire the people who are listening to this, be it young, old. I mean, people who are just getting into the industry. I think you've made a great statement today, and I really just want to thank you for stepping up and coming to the studio.
Thank
yeah,
you.
and
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Becoming a part of this journey.
Yep.
So, one last question.
Sure.
We ask this to everyone. Who would you like to see next on the show?
Oh wow.
And you can be as crazy as you want, man. You can
Yeah.
get Riot Trindamere down here. I don't
Oh
mind.
wow, that'd
Anyone.
be great. That'd be great. Actually, I'd love to have someone from Riot. Actually,
Riot.
if you can get them down. I mean, they have a local office.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
We got that.
Yeah,
I mean,
if they can.
you can spill some beans, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Just tell them, hey, there's
Yeah.
this guy is doing shows.
Yeah, and I like to like hear from like the marketing side of things. How
Yeah.
all these content that they're pushing out.
Yes.
What's their strategy?
Yes.
What's the thought behind going through?
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
We would love to explore that and many more. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. We are having another guest today.
Awesome.
And we will be having more guests next week. And we look
Awesome.
forward to more stories from you guys. And if anyone listening have a story to tell, reach out to us. Or if you know someone who wants to, who you want to tell their story, reach out to us.
Yep.
And we'll set a schedule and we get them to the studio, just like what Benjamin Ang did.
Yeah.
All right, with
for
that,
sure.
I will end it here. Thank you for you guys who tune in today. And we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.